My name is John Yato. Basically, I started painting when I was in Japan when I was 9 years old and came here. And then I started drawing mostly in pencil, high school. And then I got my degree in commercial art. And I've been painting watercolors since for the last almost 55 years. And then I specialize in a lot of local scenes, especially Coronado and San Diego, very detailed work. And I make prints out of that. And I love what I do. And San Diego is one of the most beautiful cities in the country. So I started to depict that image, tell people of the world how beautiful San Diego is.
My name is Uwe Warner. I paint in acrylics. I used to paint in oils, but became allergic to oils, so I switched to acrylics. I've been painting acrylics for over 40 years. I'm mainly known for my seascapes. However, I'm almost equally well known for my desert paintings. My style is, I would call realism, but not photorealism. I still want it to look like a painting and not a photograph. I was a little kid in school who was always being slapped on the hand with a yardstick from the teacher for doodling. And I was a good student, but the teachers just didn't like it if I didn't focus on them. And I never thought I'd do it for a living. Even when I got my degree in art, I never thought I'd do it for a living. It's just the one thing I always loved doing.
My name is Don Hubbard. I'm a retired Navy commander. I used to be a naval aviator. I became interested in art very, very early in my life. My father was, in addition to being a writer, he was also a painter. And he painted in New York City and was associated with a lot of the famous artists there. I went into the Navy in 1943 and I took my oil paintings with me, or my oil equipment, and on and off throughout my flight training and my flying squadrons, I painted. At one point I saw a fish print. After I got out of the Navy, I went to Scripps institution to take some oceanographic courses, and in the Scripps library they had some Japanese fish prints that had been given to them by students, Japanese students. And since I was already a watercolorist and since I did fish, I decided to try how to do this, and then discovered the techniques needed to create Giyotaka, as this is called.
My name is May Crowder Davis. I was born in Indiana. I worked for 35 years as a production technician in television stations, learning to run audio boards and studio cameras. I began art pretty early on. We always had art materials. My father painted, and when he bought new oil paints, he gave me the old oil paints and brushes, so I could play too. Right now I am a mixed media artist. I used to be a very realistic oil painter. I got into the mixed media art in an oil painting class. The teacher asked us to use acrylics. The acrylics are not transparent the way oil paints are, and I was never satisfied. So I began playing with acrylics. Right now I'm making my own materials to create collages. Instead of buying papers or something, I make a sheet of material that I can cut with scissors and then work with in the complex collages. When I came to San Diego 36 years ago, I was still working in television, but I was also starting to paint more and to create more. And I ended up selling out in the parks like we are today when about 88 and 89. So I've had a long part-time career as an artist. I retired 3 years ago, and now I'm a full-time artist, which is amazingly similar to being a part-time artist.
Hi, my name is Sandra Segovia. I'm from Mexicali. I worked like a speech therapy in Mexico. When I moved to San Diego, I started making ceramic. I took some courses in Mexico and at college, and also here. I took some classes, and I have been working with ceramic for 78 years. I love everything from nature. I love corals, fossil. I love archaeology, and all the ideas take from this nature, Mother Nature, caves, everything. Follow the clay is not an idea, it's what was seeing the clay, the texture, the shapes, and be free, enjoy the process. In the end, I have the amazing feeling that I like your piece and you're enjoying the piece.
My name's Lilly, and I've probably been making jewelry since around the 1990s while I was working as a doctor at that time, but now I am living in San Diego and helping family and making anodized titanium jewelry, which is something I've been doing for around 18 years, but a lot more in the last few years since 2011 living in San Diego. And my brother's an engineer who's helped me learn some techniques, and I've been developing that on my own. Well, with my brother being an engineer, he helped me learn basics of doing the anodizing, working with titanium and niobium, and which are good hypoallergenic featherweight materials to make jewelry out of. And I've enjoyed learning from him, including now the TIG welding that creates the welded parts on the jewelry, and I've really enjoyed just expanding on something that's kind of a unique way of making jewelry that I enjoy a lot.
It's a Coronado Art Association. It is run by the city of Coronado. We are juried art show. In order to show here, you have to have your work juried. We take in oil paintings, watercolor, pencil drawings, photography, jewelry, crafts, pottery, that kind of art.
This is a wonderful social group. I'm with other people who love art, who create art. The people who walk by when they're enthused, when I can make someone, stop and look and hear about how things are made, or we'll start riffing on ideas. I've had, teenage boys stop and go, "What is this?" And then I start talking, and you see that look in their eyes that they really understand what I mean, and they're thinking, "Oh, I could go home and try that. I could go home and try that."
I think it's a beautiful place to show the art, and the community is amazing and friendly, and appreciate the art, and I think it's the best place to show the art.
I like to show my titanium jewelry here at the Coronado Art in the Park because it's a very enjoyable, pleasing environment for visiting with people and my fellow artists in this setting, and I find it relaxing and very enjoyable, so this is a wonderful place to show my art.
I started as a hobby when I was 22 years old, and people start to buy, and people start to make comments how enjoyable and that they want to buy and hang in their house. It brings harmony into their life. And I've sold a lot of paintings in my lifetime, and they always come back and they say, "Your painting is hanging in the living room, and we see it every day. It brings much joy," and they always thank me. So that alone, I had to come here. And I like people and socialize. I love people.
Basically, I think and it's very hard in this political climate, but you have to feel joy every day. And if art brings you that, or I met two musicians who were talking about my art in terms of music, and I had a little piece of music on a piece of art, and they knew the tune, and they could sing the tune. And that kind of interaction, put joy in your life every day.
I think everybody should try to get into some art form. I became good enough at watercolor painting to teach it over at the high school for the adult classes. And it was surprising how much people there learn just taking the course. When you are speaking to somebody and say, "Look at the tree," they see a tree in their mind. When you say, "Paint the tree," they see an entirely different thing. Now they realize that every tree is a different shape. The green is a different color green. The shading patterns are different, and they have to, in the case of watercolor, save the white parts so they have the glimmer and the luster of the watercolor painting.
We are here first and the third Sunday of each month. It starts at 10 o'clock till 4 p.m. We have very friendly people. Artists will present their own work. So if you have any questions about their work, you may ask. And please come down and talk to us. Just enjoy the Sunday afternoon.